Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another video here. So I want to take another look at the trailer here, and I want to focus on some other stuff that I obviously never really focused on in previous videos, and specifically that's some stuff with Negan and Sebastian. I also want to talk about some stuff at the very end there and what I think is actually happening there, because there's some dialogue said that, like, I guess hints at what some characters anyways are planning on doing here. But yeah, and then there's just some stuff there where I'm like, I don't know how that's a plan, and it just makes sense that someone's gonna die there, because I don't know how else do you even make it out of there? So before going any further, make sure to be a subscriber if you do want more Walking Dead content like this, and also definitely go follow me on Twitch. We're gonna be doing a lot of like gameplay and stuff. I've been playing a lot of Phasmophobia, other games as well. I'll be playing like Last of Us and stuff. I'm gonna be streaming later on today, so I'm gonna be playing Minecraft today, and I think I still will play a little bit of Phasmophobia just because I have a lot of fun playing that. But I definitely will be playing some Minecraft today and building inside our Walking Dead universe thingy that we're doing. Yeah, any other suggestions for games, just let me know, because I definitely will, like, you know, I'm up for anything really. Honestly, I'm up for anything. Like, actually, last night I was playing a lot of Back 4 Blood, which was a lot of fun, so I could stream that. But anyways, yeah, let me know. And yeah, my Twitch channel is called Appetite for the Dead, all one word. The link is in the description. But let's talk about this here. So Negan actually mentions here in the trailer, he says, none of us are safe if she's still breathing. So that's clearly a reference to Pamela Milton, because, like, who the hell else would that be? Like, she's definitely the one being referenced there. And so, you know, you look at that, and Maggie seems to be, like, if Negan is saying that, it's because Maggie maybe is a little unsure on what they're trying to do here. They're planning something, they're about to go and do something, and they're discussing what's next, and so he says that kind of thing. And then Maggie could just agree or whatever, but maybe she's just sort of like, I don't know about that, because if we do that, that doesn't really do a lot for the people here and stuff. And I think what this season's really going to focus a lot on is sort of honoring Rick Grimes and, you know, Maggie maybe even sparing Pamela Milton, because obviously for her, she wanted Negan dead, right? Like, after All Out War, she wanted him dead, and Rick was like, no, we can't do that. Like, this needs to be like a democracy, this and that, and we need to fight for this. Like, we actually have to somehow return to a sense of normal. We need to go back to that. We can't be like the dead. We can't change because the world has changed, right? And so I wonder if that's what Maggie's going to do here. I actually wonder if, and I mean, it's, if you read the comics, obviously that's what happens, but that one line there got me thinking about that. Like, I could definitely see that being something that happens here, and I could see Maggie actually sparing Pamela Milton's life. I could actually see that. Now, the one scene everyone was like laughing about in the trailer, and I thought it was so cool, was Sebastian, you know, he gets knocked to the ground or something like that, and then he says, do you know who I am? And then Negan right after says, do you know who I am? I love this. I think this is going to be really epic, you know, but going into before the trailer, I was always talking about, like, well, we don't know if we're going to get that sort of character pairing here, right? Like, we've been seeing a lot of Daryl and Sebastian. You know, Negan and Sebastian makes so much sense, but it's like they could always change things up, and maybe the character's not really around too much, but we actually saw it here. So this is going to be a lot of fun. And the one thing I will say is, I don't think the scene is basically just like him being the shadow of Sebastian. Like, watching the scene, it actually made me realize that it kind of looks like they're working together, kind of. Like, I think they held him captive, and they're trying to get him to do something, or like show them something. Like, there's something in a specific location. Like, they need him to do something for them to be able to, like, I don't know, do something to the Commonwealth, right? And so they have him here, and Sebastian doesn't want to do it, but I feel like out of all the characters, they might be able to convince him to do it, because they're like, you know what, like, you don't give a shit about your family, you don't care about anything here, like, everyone just treated you like shit, sort of thing, right? And so I actually wonder if they're trying to convince him of that and try to get him to turn against Pamela Milton. It would be an interesting change with the character. I mean, I don't see them doing that. Like, there's no way he's going to be just like become the hero or go against Pamela. If anything, I kind of see it as like, maybe he tries to do something here, and maybe it actually helps our group out. But I think in the end, he's just going to side with his family, because he's just like that. He's going to side with the group that has the more power, right? So, but I think he's going to refuse to do something here. And I think, you know, the way he's going to be convinced is by Negan punching him and then knocking him to the ground. And then, yeah, and then he says those lines and all of that. And honestly, if it wasn't for Isle of the Dead, I would be really worried about him, because this is really what got Rick Grimes killed, is this interaction with Sebastian. He stood up to Sebastian in the comic, and that resulted in his death later on that night, because Sebastian was so pissed off about that still, goes in his room and then kills him, and then, yeah, he becomes a zombie or whatever. And it was like a really insane scene. And again, if it wasn't for Isle of the Dead and we had no confirmation of that, and just say like The Walking Dead was ending for sure after this, right? Like they weren't continuing with any more stories, I would be so worried for him. Holy shit, a scene like that, I would be so worried. But he's clearly going to be fine here. And I really wonder what they're going to do with that character. You know, I've really looked through the trailer a lot, and there's like 2 more videos I want to do specifically on some stuff in the trailer. But when you're looking at the trailer, like a lot of what they sort of put together is a lot of scenes that look interesting, but it's hard to piece together what's actually happening. Like there's a lot of storylines. If you're looking at it, like there's a lot of storylines. Like there's even a scene here, and I noticed like there's a car chase scene with the Commonwealth, and I think Daryl and Carol are definitely going to be involved. Other characters will as well. I'm not entirely sure who, but definitely Daryl and Carol, because you do see that shot of them in that vehicle and they're driving somewhere. You actually see a shot here where there's a Commonwealth troop in like this van, you know, going after them, but then they get T-boned by this other car. And again, I don't know who that's going to be. That could be someone from our group. That could be Mercer with some of the Commonwealth troops, because maybe that was, you know, that was sort of planned kind of thing. But there's definitely going to be a car chase scene here, which is actually really cool. That's definitely a throwback to earlier seasons, because I think it was in season 4 or 5. No, it was 5 for sure, I think, where Daryl and Carol were in that van or whatever, and we had that hilarious scene where they went over the bridge, and they somehow, like, remember the physics in that scene just made no sense. That's the kind of vibe I got anyway. It's just like using vehicles like that, because they don't really use vehicles like that, or they haven't since Angela Kang took over. And now it's mostly because, I mean, that was a logical choice because it made a lot of sense, you know, like just within their area, because there was no Commonwealth back then. We didn't have any of that. So like they didn't want to rely on gasoline and all that. And so just, you know, using horses and this and that for travel made a lot of sense. But it is really cool to actually see the fact that, you know, the Commonwealth, like they have all of these resources. So they're using those vehicles again, like they were back in the day. And yeah, it just gives me early season vibes seeing that. And it just, honestly, it does feel really cool. There's actually a scene where you do see the Commonwealth chasing them, and it's really hard to notice, but like I was going through everything like frame by frame. And again, I have a couple more videos I want to do on the trailer, because if you go frame by frame, you catch a lot of different things. But when you go through this shot here, and it's kind of hard to see because I have a still here of the trailer, but Ezekiel says fall back, and you actually see a vehicle down that path that's driving towards them. And so I think that's what's happening here. So obviously the Commonwealth are going after them. And so when you see these scenes here, that's exactly what's happening. Like, I don't know where they are. I don't think they're in the Commonwealth, or maybe they are. Maybe they're like in a place in the Commonwealth that is a little more like no one's around there, like it's deserted kind of thing. I could definitely see that. And maybe the Commonwealth are trying to corner them in this place here. They have some walkers around, this and that. And so I think that's what we're seeing here, is they're all together here. And then there's this Commonwealth troop, or I guess a couple of the troopers inside this vehicle driving towards them, which, yeah, they're going to have to get the hell out of the way. There's also, like, this I just found insane. And I never really caught on to the specific detail of this until I was watching, but there's this apartment building or whatever, right? You see this window. They're all jumping over the walkers here because there's nowhere else to go. And that's how they're getting out of this. Like, that's actually how they're trying to escape this, to get into that building. Now, the thing that's really scary about it is it seems like they're all just jumping on that pole. And so you gotta be like, I mean, a lot of people aren't going to be able to do that. Like, a lot of people aren't going to be able to jump onto that pole and pull themselves up like that. It's going to be really hard for some people, and that is a terrifying situation. I don't know why, for some reason, I kept thinking they had a rope that they were like sort of grabbing onto and you know, pulling themselves up, but no, that's just the pole on the side there. And so that's actually really terrifying. And when I think of that scene with Rosita, man, I really have this feeling that she's gonna be dead. Like, she has Coco with her there. I don't want to say Rosita's gonna die in that scene, because it would be really sad, but it's literally the last 8 episodes here, and you just see a scene like that, and the walkers seem to be literally on her. And if somehow her being in that situation, like if somehow she escapes that is just insane. Like that would be crazy. It wouldn't be that different, I guess, from what we've seen before earlier this season, because if you remember in the premiere, or it was in episode 2, Maggie escaped the walkers there in that train or subway station, which seemed very unrealistic. Like that shouldn't have happened. Definitely. Like they were all pulling on her legs and stuff. Like she definitely would have got a scratch or got bitten and like something. So yeah, I guess it wouldn't be too different. If she survives that, then it wouldn't be that different. But again, I don't know. I just have this feeling, just because of some of the shots in the trailer, and usually whenever they do trailers, they always try to like give us a misleading death scene, right? We always think it's going to be this character, but it's actually not. And I have a feeling that in this trailer, they're actually kind of showing us it, because we're all going to be second guessing it. We're all not going to know, right? So I don't know, I have that feeling, because there's also a shot here of Daryl on a motorcycle. Just because he's on the motorcycle too, and because of the location, I'm like, is this literally, like, is this from the final episode? Kind of seems like it. Like it actually seems like it's from the final episode. Maybe this is how the show ends, at least for Daryl's story, right? Like he rides off kind of thing. That's just kind of the feeling I got. But yeah, anyways, I'm gonna leave it here. This was some more stuff that I noticed in the trailer here, but I'm gonna leave it here. Definitely post all your thoughts down below. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.